Hello, today we have Mr. Tom from Booker Labs, and he has a new and very interesting speaker. Tell us about it.
Well,
Uh-oh,
no,
uh-oh,
That's the man right here, man.
That's the
That's the
man.
man. That's the man.
Making some great stuff.
and that's the man too,
all I
right
wanted to
there,
say.
Joe.
Thank you, Joey.
Yeah. All
Nothing
right,
like a
tell
little
us
free
about
press.
this new amp. You know, the amp has been something that we've been dealing with for many years. You have many customers that have older Leslies, and they want to be able to upgrade their amplifiers. The whole inconsistency with tubes sometimes kind of gets people a little rattled, and they don't want to deal with it. So tell us the whole background behind this amp that you guys came up with.
Well, like most of the guys out here, I've been collecting these things for a long time and rebuilding amps. And it's like some of our marketing says the love relationship. You know, you just get enamored with these spinning speakers. So I started looking years ago because I had my own amps that either needed service or I wanted to build another one. So we started looking at solid state just because you can duplicate the tube amp that's available today. The parts are getting harder to get, and so the thought was, let's go look at a solid state, but let's make it do everything and be like a plug and play form fit function for the Leslie amp. So we played around with some Class D modules. We started out with a little too low a power. We got to the show last year at NAMM in summer, and we just got an amp back off the drawing board, and it wasn't any louder at all. In fact, it was quieter than a regular 147. So we went back to the drawing board, and we had to learn what 16 ohms was and all that kind of stuff, but it's all good. So we got this nice amp now. It's 250 watts into 4 ohms, which equates to about 65 at 8 ohms. So I told one user, we're a little more worried about people blowing their speakers in their Leslies than they are blowing the amp up. But
So if a customer decides to put it in their present configuration of 16 ohm speaker setup with the 16 ohm woofer, 16 ohm driver, what are we going to get out of it?
what are we losing? I'm sorry?
What are we getting out of it?
Oh, well, what I was referring to
Power-wise.
there was you get about 65 watts.
That's at 8 ohms.
No, it's at,
At 16?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, what I meant about our assumption was wrong before was we thought about a 100 watt module would be more than enough to
No.
run it, but
No,
the
it's
bass primarily, and then
Sucks up a whole
learning
lot.
how tube amps really respond. It's not so much wattage as it is impedance and,
Yeah.
and the match. So
Yeah.
so we had to go back to the drawing board more than once, but we're real proud of what we come up with. It's got a speed control module that we make. It's solid state relay, similar to some of the best ones on the market. Being 11 pin, it doesn't have to sense any of the weird
Yeah.
voltages. And then we've got a power control module in there for the 11 pin that lets you turn on remote control.
From the
that
organ.
switches on, same thing. And we try to reuse the modules that we make. So the preamp in there is the same preamp that's in our pedal or our Fusion preamp interface. It's tuned down since it's driving a power amp, not a Leslie. And then that speed control module we actually use in another motor. So it's kind of like, we call it making your own dog food and eating your own dog food. You know, and some of this stuff is interchangeable. So we're looking forward to a higher power line of amps. We can put a 500 watt module, which would give you about 125 RMS, you know, in 8 ohms. They're European built modules by Bang & Olufsen. So it's not a cheap amp module, but that's the only thing we don't build. The preamp and the company that owns us is a large electronics manufacturing company. So all of our manufacturing is done in South Carolina. It's surface mount assembly, you know,
Yeah.
modern. A lot of the older Hammond techs aren't in love with surface mount because it sort of implies you throw away the circuit board.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the stuff we're doing now, you really can't do point to point, still fit in a small box. So.
Yeah, they're kind of integrating everything in, yeah.
So, but we do love the tube amp. Nothing breaks up like a tube amp.
Yeah.
This thing, honestly, we haven't done enough testing to see how it does break up, but with the new organs doing crosstalk and drive, overdrive, and gain, you can get more of the tone on the organ now and not, but still keep your tube amp for the studio.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
And then
yeah.
gig with this thing. If you drop it down the stairs, the amp
Still
will,
going to keep going.
yeah, so
And,
we'll,
and I think there's a certain segment of the market that just wants low maintenance.
Yes.
They don't want to have a tech in there
Right.
every month
Yes.
doing this and that and so forth.
I get that, and I'm just sort of a modern guy, but the stereo I listen to at home is Marantz and McIntosh and Klipsch. So you can't get away from it.
What I'm probably going to do is reach out to you guys, get one. I want to put one on my rental rigs and really test it out.
We'd
put it
love,
through the
honestly,
paces.
for some trained ears.
Yeah.
You know, Joey got the first one. That's why Joey loves us. He's our man, but he's Viscount's man too. But
Yeah,
we're just proud to be associated with all these guys and be a part of the show. But
Great.
I'd be happy for you too. We've got some prototypes now, and by middle of July we should have enough production. But
Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about that because I got guys hitting me up asking me about it. So I said, hey, I gotta help the community out.
can I show you a couple other cool products?
Yeah,
Stay
sure.
right there. Pardon me, sir. Borrow this. So, are we ready? Everybody keeps talking about line out modules for a Hammond, and I know they're made and installed, but we came up with one that's a 6-pin Leslie plug. It'll plug into 122, 147, and it gives you a 1/4 inch out.
Oh wow.
Now, how does it do that? There's actually a transformer in the hood here. It's not magic. We don't put black glue around it. You can open it up and see what we're doing, but it's a step-down transformer, a low impedance load resistor, and basically stick it in either Leslie, you get 1/4 inch. Okay, so what do you do with that? Well, if you've got a 3300 Leslie, which are great Leslies, or any 11-pin, you can't really control the speed with anything but a temporary tap switch. So we came up with this low-cost passive pedal, and basically it gives you speed control for the 33, but then you can plug in like a line in.
Yeah.
So now you can hook like a B3 to a 3300 with just a passive connection because we're doing the step
So now
down.
answer me a question. With this right here, since it's a 6-pin, if I plug this directly into a back of a Hammond
Yep.
and it's 1/4 inch, can I actually plug it into a speaker from here or
Well,
how?
a powered speaker.
Oh yeah, that's
it's
why I
a
mean a
line in.
powered
Yes, sir.
speaker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
great.
Yeah, all it uses is the audio. So there's no AC, but the convenience is you just stick it in and put this into a recording studio.
Now, how are you handling the switching voltage if it's a 122 type setup?
It ignores it because it's
It-
a transformer. Yeah.
Oh, it'll ignore it, so
Yeah.
it'll work. And oh,
Right.
that's
It doesn't
great.
do speed. It's just line
It's
out.
just
yeah.
line out. Yeah, line out.
And then you can plug your CU1 into here if you don't want to use foot switches.
Plug your CU1 into
speed.
there.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
now a console this could be the 11-pin interface for the console. So.
Wow.
But kind of like we did before, we'll probably wind up putting this inside here and making
And
the
make
console.
Yeah.
So, but again,
Yeah.
it's that sort of Lego block mentality
Yeah.
that lets you
Yeah.
configure things. And
Yeah. No, that's nice.
cool?
I like
So,
that.
Thank you. This is just a passive pedal. I mean, there's no power supply.
Yeah.
And it'll let you turn the Leslie on and off too. But
Wow.
anyway, so these are some other
Those
accessories.
are some of the newer things you came
Yeah,
out
man.
with. Any other new products you came out with?
Left and right, friend.
This is fun, Sebastian. the last thing that we announced this about a year ago, but we're making improvements to it. This is called AmpBox. AmpBox Tour we call it because it's got either an NL8 or an EP6. And what this does is it bolts onto the back of the Leslie amplifier with these screws. So once it's on, it becomes part of the amp. And then you can use an NL8 cable. You can use an EP6 if we put it on here. And then in Europe, they don't like the mains 120 or 230 coming over the cable. So
Yeah, exactly.
we could put a power con here. And then all we do is wire the power con internally here. So to run this, you have a little NL8 or EP6 box. In this case, it'll just plug in. Normally, I'd wire it up,
Yeah,
permanent,
of course.
but we just
some
did
of
this
my
too.
customers, because I have some of my customers, they have me put NL8s or EP6s in their organs
Right.
to make it, but that makes it a lot easier. And that even allows some of them to do it because it's almost plug and play. What about this side? Is this plug and play like that?
Yeah,
side?
that would be a PowerCon cable, which is like a Speakon, but they're
Yeah.
blue and gray.
Yeah.
So, but in Europe, they don't like the mains being
Yeah,
part of the
no,
cable.
I get it.
So we give you the option. Now, one thing we did was, since we're owned by a bigger company, we actually got UL listing,
Certification.
not recognition. Or I get the two confused. I'm sorry, I should know. But like a microwave or something has to be full
Yeah,
UL for
UL,
safety.
yeah.
They said that, and we had to sort of educate them in a way. We're building something that was designed to hook up to something that never did meet UL, or it met UL at the
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
And so they got the whole power thing. So they said, if you wire these devices to meet UL specs, and our shop is UL
They'll
spec,
respect it.
then we'll at least recognize that it's safer than what it used to be.
Yeah,
So, but they
yeah.
still don't like power over mains.
And of course, that's what the whole 11 pin is for.
Right, exactly. So we could put an IEC there too, but that wouldn't satisfy Europe in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So the PowerCon and the Speakon combined are like a neat. And if you go to any town and you lose your cable, you could find one.
Yeah. NL8s are common cables. Yeah.
And they're more inexpensive and available. 6 pins. We're having trouble getting all these guys.
Oh yeah, I know the Amphinols. Yeah.
11s are fine, but
Yeah.
but
The
6.
6 and the 5s,
Um,
like.
One last thing I'll mention too, and we're still in the technical part of this, but because there's 8 wires on this and 8 wires here, you can put both 122 and 147 in the 8 cable,
Uh-huh.
and then this guy would determine
Which
he's
is
got-
which.
He would determine which 6 go to the right
So
place.
you can have it going off to 2 different
Right.
points, and if it's 122, 147.
So like tour line, a back line, and then so.
Another toy. Okay.
Yeah, this is stage box, and then we had the plates made. So again, it's an NL8. This would be for Joey and his 2 Leslies, and one going to each one. And again, it wouldn't care if it's 122 or 147 based on the amp wiring. And then again, if you need power, it's here. But if you don't want it, just keep the cover.
Oh,
So,
that's sweet.
and,
That is sweet,
So-
man. You guys are busy down
So-
there in the Carolinas.
well, thank you.
I gotta stop by the shop one day when I'm coming through that way.
We'll do. Come
Yeah.
to the Hammond doc, Dr. Kim.
Oh yeah, I know Kim.
He's in North Carolina.
Yeah,
now.
over in Fayetteville.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can stop and see us on the way. See
So you guys are near Fayetteville?
No, we're Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Near,
Off of
halfway between
85.
Charlotte and Atlanta.
Yeah, okay. I come through there all the
Oh
time.
man, we love to see you.
Yeah. I stop by and
So
see.
that about does it, Sebastian. But,
All right. Well, I appreciate
glad
your
to be
time,
here.
and we're excited about your new products. I know a lot of my customers, they've been asking about them, and people are just looking for some different ways of making their stuff work.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the market. We appreciate the patience. One of the problems we all have is due to the COVID and the
Yeah.
supply issues.
Supply
We're having
line
trouble just getting easy parts, even in metal. But so when we do, we grab them and build. But
Oh no,
bear
I
with us.
get
But
it.
we hope to be shipping all this stuff real soon. And we've got prototype quantities available now. So.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Well, thank
All
you,
right.
and thank you for your support, sir.
All right,
All right.
take care.
Enjoy the show.